I'm going to feel like I'm repeating many of the messages that we've already heard. But what I want to do is tell a story about a single project that we've worked on. And I should stress this is just one of 4 different prototypes that we worked on with the Vacation Scholars. We're a museum. One of the key ways in which we communicate with our audiences is through exhibitions. Although I'm pleased to say exhibitions have moved on a bit since the 1855 image that I showed you earlier. We try and include a degree of interactivity in these. And one of our most recent exhibitions is a show called Surviving Australia. And there's an element in that, an interactive in that, which has become one of the most popular interactives in the museum, which is the Dangerous Australians table. And this is no surprise to us because dangerous Australian animals have long been one of the big points of interest for our audiences. It's an area of our website that's well visited, and it's also one of the most common sorts of inquiries that we get into our inquiry service. So we communicate about this. We have information on our website, we publish on it, and we make cool interactives on the floor. One of the things we wanted to do with this project was to explore how our existing information could be applied to a different format. We've never actually developed an iPhone app for the museum before. So one of the first things we did was to explore, here's something we know we've got information on, we know we've got audience interest in it, let's see what we can do with it. And so Matthew, one of the undergraduate scholars, took this on, and the challenge was very simple. The brief was, iPhone app, dangerous Australians using our existing information without us needing to create new information for that. And what we wanted to achieve with that was a number of things. Firstly, we wanted to see if we could reach a new audience with this app, and a new channel. We wanted, obviously, the reason we produce all of this information is by getting information about these things out there. We hope that we'll get fewer people admitted to hospital after an encounter with a dangerous Australian animal. That would be a good result. We also want to increase visitor interaction with the museum and extend that. That if visitors can visit our website, visit our physical site, they can also take some things away with them, and they've extended their interaction with the museum. And of course, in the development of apps, we also want to explore new revenue streams to the museum. At the moment, we have 350,000 people come through the door of the museum, and they pay an admission charge to get in. Each year, we have about 15 million people visit our website. At the moment, they don't pay anything for that. It would be great to explore ways in which some of the content, some of the material we develop for the web can create a new revenue stream for us. So what Matthew did was he looked at this information and he came up with a range of ways into that information, and that's what the iPhone app is based on. And the first of those is a locality search. What he's done is he's used the GPS feature of the iPhone. So you log into the Dangerous Australians app, it works out where you are, and then helpfully tells you all the things that can kill you that are near you. Now, as a way of raising revenue, we could actually offer the Australian Tourist Board to pay us money not to put that feature in the iPhone app. Because actually this could be an application no tourist could afford to be without. What it does is it uses 2 different sources of information. There's a website called Biomaps, which the museum is part of, that collects locality data from museum collections. Every time an animal, a specimen, is collected and added to a museum collection, its locality is documented. And Biomaps puts all that information out there. So what the app is doing, it's trawling information about the animals, and it's trawling the locality data and making something out of that. It's also providing direct access to our online fact sheets. We didn't write new information for this. The app is simply pulling this information from our website. And the second way in which visitors can use it is a simple browse through our fact sheets. They exist online, but they're on the app as well. And a third way, I mentioned earlier that the museum has an inquiry service. Using the photo feature of the iPhone, if you see an animal which looks like it could be dangerous, you can take a photo of it and then potentially email that directly from your phone to our inquiry service and get a direct response. And that's, again, no different from what visitors can do now. They can take a photo of something, you can log onto our website, email that photo into Search and Discover, and they'll come back to you with an answer. That's very simple, but it was, for us, a really positive interaction. Because what the experience looked like was we simply threw a problem and an opportunity at someone and had them work on it for a short period of time. And the importance of producing the kind of prototype that we can then take back and play with. And the production of that prototype has thrown up a whole bunch of new problems and questions for us, which is great because it'll help us develop further our ideas. And to do this, there was a very limited draw at the early stage on our museum resources. We were using information we already had. To take it further, we now have some work to do. But that's fine. We've got a start point. And there are some things we need to do. We need to think about the mapping, and I'll talk about that briefly in a second. We need to work out a definition of dangerous, because actually putting the app together threw up a whole bunch of questions around that. We need to think about the first aid content, and we need to look at ways of expanding the visitor interaction. Basing it on biomaps is a great start, but because it's limited to collection data, it's not giving you a true picture of where the animals live. There's some really interesting problems with that. Biomaps, for example, indicates that animals nearly always live near a road, because that's where they get collected. It's incomplete, so we need to do some more work on the mapping. The definition of dangerous turned into a huge argument within the team. There are some things which are uncontroversially dangerous. They can kill you. I should have warned you, if there's any arachnophobes in the audience, this next bit gets a bit spidery. This is a Sydney funnel web spider, uncontroversially dangerous. This is a brown trapdoor spider, pretty much harmless. They look really like funnel webs, and one of our most common sources of dangerous animal inquiries is stuff that looks dangerous but isn't. Does that have a place on the app? Is it very misleading to put a harmless spider on an app called Dangerous Australians? Then there's things which are a bit dangerous. Won't kill you, but they'll certainly ruin your day. There are things that are painful. Do they have a place on the Dangerous Australians app? And there are things where the jury's out. People are arguing about whether they're dangerous or not. Now, with some groups of animals, there's actually a recognised scale of dangerousness. With snakes, there's a 5-point scale that takes into account how big its fangs are, how much venom it has, how bad a temper it's got, whether it lives near people. That's actually recognised as a scale of dangerousness. That's easy. The most recent news story of an Australian animal that put someone in hospital was actually a wombat. And up until 3 weeks ago, it didn't occur to us to put wombats on the Dangerous Australians app. It now has. Another issue we have is first aid advice. We're not experts in medicine. We're experts in where animals are found, we're experts in their life history, but this isn't what we do. And so there's a risk that if we produce this content and it goes out of date, we won't be alert to that, and that's a risk to us. So one of the things for us to do moving forward is potentially to find another partner who can provide an ongoing source of up-to-date medical and first aid information, and that's going to be really important for us. And lastly, I mentioned we need to find ways of expanding visitor interaction. The iPhone is just one platform, so we need to think about how we can take the work we've done and move that into other platforms. We also need to find some ways to, this is a section on our website called My Museum, where visitors can actually log in, register, and form an ongoing relationship with the museum. They can write comments, they can bookmark and tag things. We would love to be able to find a way for any iPhone app we develop to interact with this and again generate that long-term relationship between visitors and the museum. So that's where we've come, that's where we are, and that's where we're going. Thank you very much.